r/AskReddit. What's the weirdest thing you've done while your brain was on autopilot? Was taking my belt off at airport security. After I unbuckled, I momentarily thought I was in the bathroom and started unzipping. Stopped myself half a second before I pulled everything down. As someone who works airport security, you wouldn't believe how many times a day people try to take their pants off. In college I had a fair number of all-nighters and usually had the TV going to help keep me up and help with concentration. Once a couple weeks after submitting an essay for a political science class, I noticed that the message I sent with it to my professor went something like, "Attached is my water for Italian cooking." My essay was completely fine and had nothing to do with Italy. I guess my brain just turned off as soon as I'd attached the paper, and there must have been some cooking related infomercial on TV while I sent it. The name of the place I work at begins with an F, and I was chatting with one of my coworkers who was telling me how she runs 10 miles or so every morning as the phone was ringing. What was going through my head was "Duck that," so when I answered the phone I said, "Duck, this is Travis, how can I help you?" Edit. Meant coworker, but duck it, coworker is staying. Coworkers. That's an interesting occupation. Do you work at a dairy farm? My husband and I had an inside joke. Whenever someone lost something, the other person always asked, "Have you checked inside your butt?" I was in a meeting at work, conservative and traditional corporate office, one day, and a coworker said, "I can't find my pen." Without any thought or hesitation I quickly responded, "Have you checked inside your butt?" As soon as I said it, I snapped back to reality and realized I was at work. As you can imagine, everyone went silent and stared at me as my face turned bright red. I sleepwalk once in a while. Recently I got up at 2 AM and fed the dog. My girlfriend woke up and was like, "WTF? Did you just feed the dog? What time is it?" Apparently I looked her in the eye and said, "Everyone loves a midnight snack." Edit. Thanks for the gold. He's a good dog, Brent. I bought a block of cheese for myself last weekend while my fiance was away in Nashville. Put it in the fridge like a normal person. At some point I had to get something out of the miscellaneous drawer in the kitchen. You know, the one that holds pencils, rubber bands, menus. I didn't find what I was looking for in there, but I did find an unopened block of cheese. No idea how I managed to put it there, nor do I remember ever taking it out of the fridge, but it had to be me, right? When I was sick and feeling feverish, I decided to take some Motrin to try and alleviate the symptoms. Usually I grab the pill bottle and shake out 2 pills, but instead I grabbed my water bottle first and poured water all over my hand. Was on the phone with my boss and she was getting really irritated about something. I don't even remember what. The combination of her irritation and my exhaustion made my brain misfire, and I ended the call with, "Okay, bye bye mom. I love you." I was so embarrassed, but she thought it was hilarious and started calling me her adopted daughter after that. I mean, she is the same age as my mom, so it's not too weird, but I certainly felt like a child around her instead of a colleague until she left the company. I miss her. I'm sorry you lost your mom. Not too weird because it does make sense. I recently moved to the apartment directly above the one I used to live in. My former roommate leaves the door unlocked. The frequency at which I just storm in and enter my empty old bedroom is staggering. Back when we had a landline I was talking on the cordless phone, and when I hung up I stuck it in the fridge without even blinking an eye. It was lost for hours and nobody noticed until we got a phone call and the fridge started ringing. Typing up a report for work. Co-workers having a conversation near me. I proceed to start transcribing their conversation. Another time after work I got into the passenger seat of my car and waited a good 2 minutes to be driven home before realizing I was alone. I had OJ at work while I had someone in my office. I went to shake it, but the cap was off and proceeded to shower myself with OJ. When I was in school, 6th grade I think, my mom would make my bagged lunch. She would wrap soda cans with aluminum foil so they would stay cold. Pretty sure that doesn't work. One day I unwrapped my soda and discovered she packed me a beer that day. Woke up early Monday morning in a bit of a panic. I had forgot to buy cat food yesterday. The cat must be starving. I hurry and get ready for work. I plan a detour to the store to buy the cat food. On the drive there I'm planning my run into the store and I realize I don't know what aisle the food is on. How could I not remember what aisle the cat food is on? Then it hits me. I don't have a cat. I haven't had one for several years. Answered my cell phone. 911 center. What's the location of your emergency? Makes my spouse laugh. My friends roll their eyes. And scares the duck out of telemarketers. 12 hours night shifts are a beach. I'm a security guard for Amazon and I have to do bathroom checks. Caught myself yelling security right before going to the restroom at a bar on my day off. Thank God it was empty. Cleaning up my face with electric clippers. Thought, oh, missed a spot, and proceeded to shave off my ducking eyebrow. Been giggling like mad at all the stories. But yours? Yours pushed me over the edge. I think my laughing just woke up the neighborhood. My wife and I were dyeing some Easter eggs and drinking wine this past Saturday night and I watched her take a big swig out of orange. There was an egg in the cup and everything. I filled my car with gas and, when I got home, realized that I had not paid. I went back to the station and told the clerk what I had done. She thought she was missing a payment but the station was really busy at the time so she wasn't exactly sure. I paid for my stolen gas and went about my way. I also walked into the convenience store next to my work, grabbed a Gatorade out of the cooler and walked out the door. I realized what I did when I got back to work. Went back and paid for that. 2. TLDR. I steal things. I used to work for Subway, so I was very used to pizza sub meaning pepperoni. One day I went to a pizza place on my break and repeatedly told them I wanted a pizza and got very annoyed that they kept asking what kind of pizza I wanted. Edit. Don't worry, I kind of knew the cashier and we had a good laugh about it. E2. No, it wasn't a Little Caesars. They don't exist here and I've never been to one. Opening a mozzarella cheese stick for my daughter, threw away the actual cheese stick and gave her the wrapper. Duck you. This is all you get. I have to. Walking to work on a very straight path through a nature reserve. I fell asleep and sleepwalked for about 10 minutes. It was so weird. I blinked and suddenly appeared near the end of my journey. Got into my car with coffee and a newspaper. Carefully held the rolled up newspaper whilst hurling the coffee onto the passenger seat. I was tutoring another student on geometry, arc and area and whatnot, just after I had finished cramming for and taken a calc test. About 3/4 of the way through the poor kid's homework I realized that I had not done any of the problems correctly. Rather, to the student's endless confusion, I had been integrating the circumference of the circle between the endpoints of the arc. Once I realized my mistake I redid the work with him and reimbursed the session cost. I've never seen someone so grateful to find out that they were doing their math right and that I was in whatever post-apocalyptic math-based dreamscape. Every year I have a day or two where my first period learns something a bit wrong because my brain isn't working. I usually hope they're not paying too much attention and try to reteach it the next day. Raising my hand to voice my opinion while in a conversation, not a school. I once did this in a Skype conversation. Skype meetings are the worst about this because you don't have any body language to clue you in that someone wants to say something. So usually one or two people just steamroll the conversation and you basically have to talk over them for 30 seconds to get them to stop and give you some time. It's honestly a real problem with conference calls in my experience. I feed my cat while I make breakfast. One very sleep deprived morning I made cereal in her bowl and put her kibble in my cereal bowl. I didn't realize I ducked up until I shoved a giant spoonful of cat food in my mouth and chewed a few times. So, how did it taste? Like old beef jerky flavored sand. Did the cat like the cereal? Yup. I asked a customer to let me know if we were out of something and I would grab it for them, and instead of saying come yell at me I said come at me. Also a different job told a customer good night yourself. I tried to put a pacifier in my mother's mouth as opposed to infant she was holding. The best part is that she was nagging the hell out of me. Once I was feeding my 1-year-old a banana and talking to my mom. In the middle of the conversation, I pushed the banana in front of my mom's face and just waited for her to take a bite. It took like 30 seconds to register that I was force feeding my 48-year-old mother, not my toddler. It was hilarious. Grabbing my keys, phone, wallet, etc. before work. Why is there a TV remote in my car? the etc. included the TV remote. I have done this. Instead of grabbing my coffee, I got my TV remote and didn't notice until I got to work. Haha. Damn, that's even worse since you left something behind to take the essential remote with you. In college I used to wear a mouthguard at night because I used to clench grind my teeth in my sleep. One morning I was particularly groggy as I was getting ready for class. I got ready, drove to the RTD stop, and waited for the bus. I was mulling something over when it occurred to me I was chewing on something. It was my mouthguard. I somehow popped it back in after I woke up and had been walking around with a mouthguard in all morning. Edit. Speaking of brains on autopilot, for all you non-Colorado people, RTD equals Denver's public transportation system, buses and light rails. I drove a city bus in college. My route and my commute home had a road that overlapped. Driving home from work one night I ended up doing my bus route instead of my commute home and didn't realize it until I ended up in the bus terminal at the end of the line. I guess it was better than driving into my apartment complex with a city bus. I was really hoping it was the other way around. I got out of work late, drove home. Must have dozed off because last thing I remembered was being on the freeway a couple of exits from home. Woke up in the garage 10 minutes later, with the car turned off. I got home safely without causing an accident. Scared me still thinking about it. Most people are kidding when they tell Jesus to take the wheel. Lose my phone in my hand while in the middle of a call. It's better than looking for your glasses while you're wearing them. Not my proudest moment. This one gets me every time. I have a habit of feeling my pocket whenever I stand up to be sure my phone is there. If I'm on the phone and I stand up, I start freaking out because I'm not feeling my phone in my pocket. Put my phone in the fridge to charge. Makes sense. Bro, you made it to the end? You're a ducking beast. Thanks for watching, mate. Make sure to smash that like button and subscribe for more high quality content.